This is section 3.1, and we are learning algebra, and we're going to start with some definitions. So a term is a number or the product or quotient of numbers and variables. An algebraic expression is the sum of one or more terms. So this is an expression. It consists of three terms. An expression is anything you might find on one side of an equal sign. If I put an equal sign and put another expression on the right, I have an equation. But we're not dealing with equations yet. We're dealing simply with expressions. And this expression consists of three terms. The first term is negative 8x to the third, and our second term is xy, and our third term is this negative 40. And the first two terms that have letters, those are called variable terms. And the third term, negative 40, is a constant. And so you can think of a constant as just a plain number. It's constantly alone, whereas the variable terms are made up of a coefficient and a variable part. xy is one term, and the values x and y are factors. So xy means x times y. But when we have two letters next to each other, we know that's multiplication. And we just have one of these. If we have xy and another xy, then we would have two xy's. If you just have one, we don't typically see the one. If we just have an x, and maybe we have another x and we have another x, we have three x's. So we'll always see a quantity more than one. For example, our quantity 3x. But if you just have an x, one x is the same as just having an x. So you have one x and another x and another x. So the coefficient of the term is the numerical factor. It's the number part. Okay, co means together with. Your co-workers you work together with. The coefficient is the number part that goes with the variable part. So terms are like terms if they have the same variable part. So list the terms of this expression. So there are four terms. The first term is 14x to the third. Then we have negative 6x squared. We have positive 3x, and we have positive 5. And the first three terms are variable terms, and the 5 is called a constant. Now, every variable term has a coefficient. That's the number part, the numerical factor. So how many x to the thirds do we have here? Well, the answer is 14, and that is our coefficient. How many x squareds do we have? Negative 6. And how many x's do we have? The answer is 3. So those numbers are called the coefficients. Okay, this is a mistake. It's saying that 5 is part of this, or maybe they're just putting an and in a funny place. But the 5 is not a coefficient. The 5 is a constant. So the two terms that are like terms are negative 6x and positive 4x. So they have the same last name. X's go with x's. They're like terms. Negative 6x and 4x. Okay. Are the terms 3x squared y and 5xy squared like terms? No, they're not. Variable parts are a bit different. So you would have to have the exact same variable part, same last name, for them to be like terms. 3x squared y and 5xy squared are not like terms. Okay, we're going to look at some properties. We've seen this before. The commutative property is where we can change the order of the addends. A plus B equals B plus A. The commutative property works for addition, and it also works for multiplication. A times B equals B times A, and we might just see that as AB equaling BA. We don't have to have that dot for multiplication. The associative property works for addition and multiplication. We can group the addends or group the factors any way we want without changing the answer. We're looking at the distributive property now with variables, and A times the quantity B plus C will be AB plus AC. Looking at this numerical example, -3 times the quantity 2 plus x, order of operations tells us to do what's within the parentheses first, but we can't do 2 plus x. So we're going to be using the distributive property to eliminate the parentheses, and we multiply twice. -3 times 2 is -6, and then -3 times positive x is -3x, and it gives me this expression, -6 minus 3x. The commutative property in exercise A, 6 plus P, if we apply that, we would just change the order of the addend. 6 plus P is equal to P plus 6. -5 plus N, we can change the order to N plus -5. And y times 7, we can change the order to 7 times y, or just 7y. So when we have addition and multiplication, we can apply the commutative properties. xy equals yx. Using the associative property, I would change these groupings to group together the two numbers, and therefore you would see within the parentheses the 12 plus 45 plus y, and the reason we're doing that is so that we can combine the like terms and simplify the number part and have 57 plus y. Here I'm using the associative property to group together the two numbers. So 5 times 7w is going to be 35w. Applying the distributive property, if there's two terms within the parentheses, we will multiply twice. Your first multiplication is 3x. And my second multiplication is a positive 12. Here I'm distributing, and there's three terms within the parentheses, so I will do 3 multiplications. Pay attention to the signs. 2 times 3y is 6y. 2 times -5z is -10z. And 2 times +1 is +2. Here again, I'm going to multiply twice. I always make this little rainbow to remind me to multiply twice, and pay attention to the signs. -8 times +2 is -16. -8 times -5y is +40y. Now, if you want to rearrange the terms, you have to make sure to take the signs with it. So if you want to put the variable term first, we have 40y minus 16, and those would be equivalent. When I have a negative in front of parentheses, I'm going to have the opposite of all three terms within, and it's the same as distributing a -1 to each term. So all three signs will change. So the opposite of -4a is going to get me a +4a, and the opposite of +b is -b, and the opposite of +3c is -3c. We're going to add or subtract as indicated. We can combine like terms by combining the coefficients and keeping the variable part. So if I have 8y's plus 6 more y's, then I have 14y's. If I have 7x² y's minus 10x² y's, I have -3x² y. So again, combine the coefficient, keep the variable part. I have -15w plus w minus aw, or -1. So I do -15 plus 4. So that's -11w minus 1w is -12w. We're combining x's, and x's go with x's, and y's go with y's, and numbers or constants will go with numbers. So the -3x and 4x go together, and -3x plus 4x is +1x, or just plain x. And then I have a +8y minus 10y. Now you make sure you take the sign in front of the term, not behind it. So 8 minus 10 is -2y. And then I just have this -19 or minus 19. Okay, now we're going to do two things. We're going to clear parentheses first, and then we're going to combine like terms. So my first step, I have to do order of operations. Again, you can't do what's in parentheses, but we do multiplication before subtraction. So you cannot start by doing 6 minus 3. So I'm simply going to bring the 6 down because I'm not using that yet. -3 times 2y is -6y. -3 times +9 is -27. Now we're going to combine the like terms. So I often start by writing the variable amount, which is the -6y. And then I have 6 minus 27, which is -21. Here I have to clear both sets of parentheses and then combine like terms. So in the first set, I'm distributing -8. I'm multiplying twice by -8. In the second set of parentheses, I'm distributing the negative sign, the -1, so I'm multiplying twice by -1. So -8 times x is -8x. -8 times -4 is +32. -1 times 5x is -5x. -1 times +7 is -7. Now I'm going to combine like terms and taking the signs in front. -8x minus 5x is -13x. 32 minus 7 is a +25. And here are some skilled practice exercises for you to work out on paper.